Well, before we get too far ahead, I just want to get to the topics right away that you're probably thinking about after this unbelievable storm. And I don't say that lightly. We are really just shocked how much rain we got out of one system. We start thinking about the big picture. Is this enough to end the drought? The short answer is no. The longer answer is, well, we'll wait and see how things go. But this is certainly a huge step in the right direction, obviously. And what just happened was truly a rare combination. First of all, we had a record low storm. Now, what that means is we measure these storms in many different ways. But at the core of this one, you have low pressure. And it was a record lowest in that part of the Pacific we've ever seen, certainly for October. And that connected with some record moist air for this time of year. You put the two together, usually one's always off or it doesn't quite connect. You get that combination, and then we were right in the firing line. So it's the 1-2 punch, and then where it goes, we were that spot. We were the hot spot, and that's why we have this exceptional storm to talk about. And, does this mean we're going to have a wet winter? The truth is, I don't know, because we still have a long way to go. But I will say, the bigger you are in the beginning of the season, rain-wise, it just makes it easier to get to the numbers you need to get to for the rest of the 5 months of our core rainy season. So remember, when we're talking about drought, we're talking about getting lackluster rain and snow for 2 years, and then you end up with half the state in a 5 out of 5 exceptional drought. I think by the time we look at this map later on, things are going to look drastically different. And in California, we always remember which side of this we're on. For example, lately, according to the Drought Palmer Index, we've seen 2 of the driest years on record in California, according to that index, within the last decade. This year being the worst. But if you look back at the history of California, very easily, sometimes within the next year, you could be way above, and you could have major storms, and you could have flooding, and all of a sudden that becomes the story. So it's hard to say where we're going to end up, but I will just say this. What we went through was truly historic, and it's all because of these atmospheric rivers. Now, we've been using this term more and more lately on TV and online, but it's always been a thing for a while. And what it really is a big storm connecting to subtropical moisture. That's where the really wet area is. In any given year, about 40 to 60% of your rain in California comes from these storms. If you get them, you're fine. If you don't get them, drought. If you get a lot of them or they're really strong, you flood. That's California weather in a nutshell. Now, through the rest of this week, we have some that will lash far northern California, and then some things look interesting once we get past Halloween. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. That really dictates how our rainy season goes, if you get them or not. Just so you know, on Monday, this continued to march to the south. So the coastal range, for the central coast, they're getting some heavy rain, some flooding issues as well. And again, it's that combination. If it all connects, you're in good shape. And there's more down the line, but really the focus is on the rain initially. And remember, on this Monday, we had some very heavy snow, looking at 2 to 3 feet of heavy, wet Sierra snow. There's a lot of water in that snow. It's good for snowpack. It gets the resorts open up early with more terrain. But there's a lot of other side issues like hiring and things like that. The other thing that the snow will do is shut off some of the pure runoff that you get in these steep canyons and passes that are related to burn scar flooding issues, of which we've seen a number of them closing highways. 70 and 50 come to mind on both sides, by the way. So what's left of this? Well, the steady rain continues to move south. We're still going to have burn scar issues. I've seen rock slides weeks after heavy rain. So once it's compromised, you got to pay attention to it. We're going to have high water in the creeks and streams. The lakes are coming up. Oroville's come up 20 feet in one storm, and it will continue to come up, likely for the rest of the season unless something crazy happens. And remember, this is, you look at your almanac, all these things sort of middle of the road kind of stuff, and then you look at our season total, 6¼ inches of rain. We had 6½ inches of rain for all of last season. So that gives you some perspective that what has happened is we have literally flipped a switch. We went from one record, which is unbelievable, 212 days in a row without a drop of rain in Sacramento. That ended September 9th with a weak storm. And then here we are with this October storm with a brand new record, more than 5 inches of rain within 24 hours. Also, SAC Executive set a new record, and Blue Canyon, which is 5,000 feet up, 10 inches of rain in 24 hours. That's a new record for them. So all these spots, even the spots that don't get a lot of rain, are way above average now. And even if it did not rain at all in the month of November, we would still end up above average. That's how much rain we got in one storm. Okay, looking ahead, starting off in the 50s, we're going to end up in the 60s. What's left with this? We could see a few afternoon thunderstorms today, and then we're going to take a bit of a break. The next system, which is more Pacific Northwest, brings us some clouds and maybe a few sprinkles, but really what we're looking forward to, and I think this is very beneficial, is through the day on Wednesday going into the weekend, we're going to see warming conditions, sunny skies, dry weather that gives the chance for all that water to percolate down and to keep moving along. If you get hit with 2 of those in a row, you're going to have massive problems. We're not going to have that. Things are starting to wind down. We're going to hit a dry streak into the weekend and perhaps beyond.